some achieve great success is proof that all others can achieve it as well. Abraham Lincoln. My friends, there have been a lot of people in the past, a lot nowadays, and many in the future that will achieve success in the stock market. You are on the right path. 10 to 15 minutes a day, that is all we ask. Doesn't cost you anything more than your time to practice trade, to stick with this. You can do it. It just takes your effort and your time. Do not give up. Do not give up. If it were easy, everyone would be able to do it. So stick with it. I'm your biggest fan. Let's jump into these charts. We see stocks and gold down for the day. Bonds and Bitcoin up. Let's look at where we are with the S&P 500 first. We see down on the half-day chart, things pulled back on Friday afternoon and down on Tuesday. Remember, yesterday was a Juneteenth holiday. How many of us did that surprise? I'm one of them. I did not see that coming and then noticed yesterday, wait a minute, why aren't these charts working? I was traveling and I thought maybe I had a bad connection. And then all of a sudden it hit me, wait a minute, Juneteenth holiday. For those of you not familiar with that, it is a new holiday here in the States, relatively new, only this is the second one. So what we see happen today on Tuesday is, of course, we see down movement in the morning, a little bit of pullback in the afternoon. Overall, just 0.52%. As we start the week, we can see that we still are moving in the right direction. Haven't hit the high from last week yet. Look at this 2-day chart. We can see a much smaller candle. Don't know if this is going to be like a short-term down move that we've seen or a sideways slide. We'll see. Now, if it continues to pull back, then of course, we will be ready to pull this more than successful, very, very successful trade. But that's where we are on the S&P. We are paying attention to what's going on as we start this shortened week. Let's move on to the Qs. What do we see going on there? They were down less than the S&P, 0.28%, a little over 0.25%. That's all we see here, where things had pulled back on Friday after bumping up in the morning, Friday afternoon, then down for the day, pulled down more in the afternoon, little pull up, pulled down more in the morning, little pull up in the afternoon. And again, as we look, haven't reached the high from last week, still moving in the right direction. We can see the high on the prior 2-day candle representing Wednesday and Thursday of last week was 372.85 and 372. Is that exactly? It's exactly the same. Yeah, so reached the same spot on the 2-day chart. We do see lots of volume on that 2-day chart, which is interesting, something we will pay attention to. Saw the same thing. Look at the S&P 500. You can see that the Friday, Tuesday, because again, markets were closed on Monday, you can see lots of volume there. So that is telling us something. Small candle, lots of volume. That anomaly wakes us up and makes us pay attention. So we'll continue to watch what's going on with stocks. Of course, price is well above the weekly trend line on both the half-day and the 2-day. Same on the S&P. Let's move now away from stocks, go to bonds. What did we have happen this last week? Well, we talked about this pulling out of our down bond move. Now bonds are moving over, going up. Not a lot for the day. We can see where things bumped up in the morning, about the same in the afternoon. We saw that last bump up in bonds back on Thursday in the morning, pulling back a little in the afternoon, dropping down on Friday, but resuming. So we will pay close attention to this. We're going to go ahead and reset because of where things are going on bonds. We did have, higher than average volume last week with, I'll let you see that, with that spinning top, not quite a doji, and now things moving up. So we do pay attention to that. We talked about pulling out of that down bond trade at the end of last week. And again, we're in that area where things could swing back over. But again, we've gone to a green candle now, and we had that high volume, higher than average volume. Saw where things had bottomed. Now, if volume is telling us what it appears to right now, bonds will continue to go back up. We do see on the 2-day, the candle is above the weekly trend line and the same on the half day. So bonds have changed. Going to change our little flag. You can't see it, but you have next to your symbols on these TradingView charts on the right-hand side of the page, just outside of where I'm recording. I always flag either green or red depending on what's going on with the weekly. We're going from red to green. What about gold? Gold down for the day, 1.04%. Gold continues to move down. You can see where it just, it had pushed above on the half-day chart, pushed above that weekly trend line, and then dropped over harder down in the morning than it was in the afternoon. But overall, 1.04. So that down move on gold continuing in our short position on gold. And again, things moving in that right direction. And of course, we don't have a good inverse fund in gold because there's too big a spread. It's too illiquid. DGZ is that inverse fund for gold. Don't like to use it because it's not liquid. So what do? We practice trade puts in gold. If you want to learn about options, if you become a Patreon member, we've got a three-part series on options that we send you. First thing you get, along with a lot of other good stuff. But you get that three-part series, Options Made Simple, The Charting Wealth Way. Think about that if you're interested in learning about options. Doesn't cost you anything, of course, to practice trade once you learn about them. That's where we are on gold. Lastly, we'll go to Bitcoin. What's going on with Bitcoin? Well, swinging up a lot, 6.70%. We see where things move down. Now they're starting to move up. I am hoping that this is, if we see this kind of move and this kind of change, particularly with a green up candle, no bottom movement like we saw in those other candles, that it truly is changing. It's not just going to zero out tomorrow and hammer down. We saw things start moving up on Friday morning, Friday afternoon, pierced on Tuesday morning on this half-day chart, pierced the weekly trend line and up even further in the afternoon. We can see where the 2-day is sitting right there, pushing through the weekly trend line also. So maybe Bitcoin is on its rebound. I'm hoping that we're going to be. I wanted it to go down further and longer just to give us a better reset, but we will be paying attention to this, see how this week continues to develop, and very much consider going long in Bitcoin on a practice trade. That is where we are, folks. We so appreciate you being with us. Hope everybody had a wonderful Juneteenth holiday for those of you who got it off. And it's good to be back with you. Good to be back with the markets open. You have questions, problems, concerns. We're always happy to hear from you. Please make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like our video today for those of you watching on YouTube. If you're not a subscriber to chartingwealth.com, then you don't get the special trainings we put out each and every day in our email. That list is never spammed, never shared. Please go there, sign up. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.